Howdy, folks. It's Meandering Mike in the Man Cave of Madness. It is after midnight, and what you're seeing here laid out in front of you is a whole lot of game design supplies. Now, most of these are what I'd call, generic supplies for typical generic tabletop board game design, not necessarily role-playing game or war game. I do have a fair number of more specific war game type supplies. Recent video in my Meandering Around the Map segment, I showed some various map and map overlay pieces that I use. I have a whole lot more in that regard. I'll do a future video more on war game design supplies and techniques. This one is general board. Now, why am I doing this now? Well, that's this box here is the prompt. This is from the Game Crafter. You probably can't see that there, but maybe if you zoom in. I am doing a game jam on October 4th, a 24-hour mystery game jam. Now, many of you have heard of game jams. They're often short time periods, short as 24 hours, or sometimes it's weeks or months, but it's creating a game from scratch by yourself or in a team with certain rules, certain guidelines of what is or isn't allowed, what's expected. This one is, as you say, a mystery. The participants in it, this is sponsored by Pam Walls. She's a published award-winning game designer in the tabletop game space. She's sponsoring this, and we had to purchase from the Game Crafter this special mystery box. And as you can see, it's still in the box here, the delivery package. We don't get to open it until 10 a.m. October 4th, Saturday, and then we can see what we are working with. Now, this particular game design jam is set with the following rules. We must use at least one of each of the different types of components that is in this mystery box. Now, some of the components have more than one of each. There might be, one, half dozen, dozen, who knows how many, because we just don't know what's in the box yet. But the requirement is you must use at least one of each. You could use up to all of them, and you can add additional outside components to the game, and you can modify them in any way that you see fit. You can, cut them. You can glue them, combine them in different ways, modify, whatever. That's all open and available to you as choices during the game jam. However, the judging, by peers and by the sponsor, they're looking for designs that focus on the components that came in the mystery box, that how well you integrate those into the center, the core of the game, and they're not just sort of tacked on. And so that helps prevent people from having a whole game designed ahead of time and then, open the box, saying, okay, I'll just blah, 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 sort of plop these in there in tangential ways. So, if these components are not central to your game, you're not really doing it right, okay? Now, so because of this, which is coming up in just about a week here, I wanted to prepare. I have no idea what's coming, but I wanted to have all my supplies ready. Now, my goal is to see if I can use just the components here or add as little as possible, but there are some things that could help enhance the overall game that would help, focus and use these as the centerpiece is if you add certain other things to help sort of complement the whole thing and make that new whole bigger than the sum of the parts. All right. So I'm going to go through quickly here. No, probably not quickly, because this is a Meandering Mike episode after all. But there's so many different kinds of stuff here. And so obviously you can see, like I mentioned, we've got things for cutting. We've got cutting mats, a whole bunch here, different kinds of glues, tape, etc. for crafting. Now, when you're building components for a game, sometimes you just need raw building block materials, things as simple as index cards, sticky notes. These are stickers of various kinds that you can build things, create cards or tiles or zones on a board or something that's going to represent. So as you're doing your prototyping and making your things, you can use all these components to different effects. Now, speaking of cards and such, some of you have seen my segment I did on the card game I'm working on, my Mythic Heroes Quest game. But we've got, blank playing cards. So these are actual playing card size and quality. But you could just use, normal decks of cards too sometimes. Sometimes you just want a normal playing deck. There are also different size cards. These are square with rounded corners. And these things come in both potentially matte and glossy, dry erase type board. So that's some of these tools here. While there are some permanent Sharpies you can mark on things, and things that have a matte finish, you can use almost any marker to draw on them or whatnot. But for the dry erase type, that you're going to be easy to change, obviously you've got various dry erase pens. I've got, a whole set of pens, erasers, and the cleaner. And speaking of dry erase, you can make board. These are actually practice for writing your English letters, but I got these for cheap just to use the backs to make generic boards for various writing purposes. Now, besides those type of surfaces, there are game boards. So like, a typical old school board game, has a rectangular board that folds out. And there's also square ones, more typical, like fold it twice to a square board. And you can get those with like matte finish or dry erase. And so drawing your own board on those. And you see here, this is a playmat. Now, many different people use playmats for various card games, and there's, just ones with art on it. The people that if you're playing Magic the Gathering or something, and you want your fancy playmat. Some games have a playmat with positions on them where certain cards go, discard piles, your tableau, your place for dice pool or something like that. This is a simple white playmat that my idea is you can draw on this. You could make, now this is not, dry erase. And while maybe you could use a washable marker, something like these. No, these are not crayons. Some people pronounce it crayon. But Crayola washable markers, those might not perfectly wash out of this. So this is something I would only use if I'm at like a near final version of prototype that's I'm near done, that I could mark a permanent version on this. I do have like 2 of these. I could easily get more, but so a nice white one would be a generic matte to do that. So more things with dry erase. These are card size that you could dry erase on, so you can make your own cards. They're not quite, actually they are. They might be that same size of playing card. But these are matte on one side, dry erase on the other. So you could use that as fit here. I'll show you the box that I'm pulling them out of here. This is just a generic box. I think I just ordered these off of Amazon. All right, so one more thing with erasable, dry erase type thing is dice. You can make your own custom dice. So here's an example. This is blank white dice. Now this is actually a game. This is a game from WizKids, where you're building your dice with symbols as you go along. I've never played this game, but I bought it for the purpose of having these dice that have the inset circle so that when you write on and you're rolling the dice, the surface is less likely to wipe off accidentally. So I have dice, like for example, here's some Chessex blank die 12s, sort of a tannish ecru and white. You can get these many different kinds of different colors that are just blank surfaces. I'm pretty certain you can get various other sizes, D10s and D8s that are in blank ones. So that's an example of dice. So your custom cards, your custom dice, your custom tiles. Now I have a bunch of hex tiles that are, some are dry erase, some are matte finish. I don't have those here with me. Those are buried somewhere in the man cave. Now we were talking about the matte surface, and you could use those washable markers. You could use normal pencils. You could use Sharpies, whatever kind that you want. You can use colored pencils. All sorts of goodies for creating, whether it's the playing board, some kind of control board. Maybe you've got an auction tableau or something, or an action track. Now you could make pieces out of those cards, out of these things, or smaller ones. You could temporarily make things out of cutting index cards or sticky notes. But sometimes you want to go for a counter sheet. Some people call these tokens, or a punch board. In the board game world, tabletop board game, they often talk about punch boards. We would call this a counter sheet in the war game world. This is 1 inch. I have a ton of different kinds of, from ½ inch up through 1 inch. Some with some pre-printed, boxes, different colors and boxes so you can put the NATO symbols in them. So again, I'll do a video in the future, some more on war game design and supplies and things like that. But this is focusing on that. So I do have different sizes. You can make those. Now, these here, you probably, if they're going to be handled a lot, you probably want to use your permanent Sharpie marker. You could use the colored pencil depending on the surface of these. Some are super glossy, some are less so, and you could use different kinds of markers or colored pencils or whatnot. But you can get, like, from the game. This was I think, yeah, GMT old. They don't carry these anymore, but I got this off of Noble Knight Games. But you can get different sizes and round ones and stuff. And so part of your game, if you're like doing like a bunch of tokens to draw things, we frequently talk about, chit draw, chit pull, and I often use, you need a note container. Well, you all can use bags very frequently in the tabletop. You can just use Crown Royal bags or something. You can buy a bunch real cheap. I don't drink, so that's not my purchases, but I just bought these real cheap off of the eBay. The nice purple ones are more expensive, of course, but these orange ones don't seem to be that popular, so I was able to get, like, it's a bag of 6, and I got it pretty cheap. So that's other supplies that you could have on handy. I wanted to mention something else about, assembling. I want to, just things like paper clips that you can use. These we always call them bulldog clips, and I'm not sure if that's an official name or a brand name or whatever, but this style of binder clips. You can have little trays for storage. These look like a card storage kind, but you could put, anything in them. This kneaded rubber eraser if you're modifying things, or putting this stuff gets kneaded down to a putty-like thing, and you can stick things together. So who knows, what kind of weird things can be done. Now, I've got like more stuff here we're going to go through. We're 15 minutes in, but I think it's worth it to spend, I don't know, another 5, 10, 15 minutes going over all the crazy. Because remember, this is a Meandering Mike game design supply aspects of addiction video. This is another aspects of addiction. I'll be labeling the video as such because I've got way so much stuff. Now, odd things, I'll start showing odd things like, hey, maybe you want ships. These are sailing ships of different colors. Now, these are actually part of a game, but I was able to get this cheap at a clearance from like Miniature Market. So I got ships that I could use. And these are cargo crates. I don't know if you can see through the bag that well, but they've got that texture of a wooden crate on them. What other kind of goodies that I have? I'm going to start going through here. I'm going to be flashing stuff in front of the camera. Hopefully it stays focused. Animals. So you can see these from the bag. Leopards. Elephants. Let's see that. Elephants there. What do we have here? Lions. Rhinos. I don't know if you can get a good rhino shot there or not through the bag. Now, of course, those aren't all to scale to each other. But if you need animals, you got animals. Now, coins, stars of different colors, gold stars, silver cards, coins. You can always use coins. I've got quite a variety of different coins and stuff here. Let's see here. Miscellaneous things. Swords. Wrenches. Those orange things are supposed to be like campfire flames. And I think there's little stands in there. There's bow and arrows. If I was opening this up and pouring a lot, looking at them all, it would go forever and a day here. So weird miscellaneous type components. More coins. These are strange octagonal coins. Let's see here. These are U.S. coins. You get a lot of stuff from Educational Supply. This company, EAI Education. I think it stands for Educational Associates Incorporated. But they have, tons of supplies that I've purchased different ones that you can, especially if you wait for some of their sales and some of the things you can get really cheap. So besides, of course, coins, you can have paper money. Of course, these are, the colors are all off. This is like Monopoly looking type money, but I don't think it's actual. It's just as education. It's just not. But again, you can learn the denominations and stuff. So leveraging educational things. All right. So, of course, you got to have different kind of quote-unquote army men. These are soldiers. These are like shields and spears. I'm trying to remember if these are like, these are from, I think I got these from the Game Crafter, and they were like leftover pieces from like Risk Godstorm or something like that. I can't remember. I got those kind of cheap. Of course, you got to have potentially, you have skeletons of different colors. There's blue, pink, and black skeletons, tan skeletons. Of course, you may also have zombies or whatnot. I don't have any zombies here with me. Jewels. It's a different color. Jewels. Good Lord, Meandering Mike, how do you have so much stuff? Well, because I went and bought it. I collected it. I aspect of addiction it. there's their feet. There's white meeples. There's question marks. There's black meeples. There's such a wide variety of stuff in here. I can't really see it all. So speaking of meeples, all right. So there's multicolored meeples. These are more metallic colors and yellow for some reason. So there's gold and bronze and silver. These are more brightly colored. And of course, all you work at, oh my God, meeples. Oh no, no. Now, some of you, well, okay. These are little demon guys. I don't know if you can see the pointy ears or like, what's the name of that game? Some dungeon pets or something like that. Those are like excess quantity. Now, one of the things you can do, some of you are going to recognize, hey, wooden blocks. Yeah, coin games and other, let's come into the war game / conflict simulation type games. Now, some of you are going to recognize, wait a minute, these are Risk pieces. Risk has come out in so many various versions. And these are the good old wooden cubes. And this is one of the first ways I started collecting bits and bobs for game design, is buying up cheap Risk sets. Oops, sorry for the hand there. So those are like the 5 armies. But yeah, that's one of the first things that you can do is you can leverage old Risk stuff. You can go to Goodwill. You can hunt on eBay for really cheap lots. That's where you can get things like this. This is like old wooden Monopoly pieces, houses and hotels. Your typical, you can see some of a gray pawn and a kind of an orangish yellow pawn, different wooden discs. So you can get a lot of these kind of mix and match pieces a lot of times. And let's see here, what else? We were talking about pawns. Yeah, if you want a lot of pawns, you can get, there's 300 game pawns of different colors. I can't imagine ever needing that many, but you never know. Maybe your game is based on armies of pawns. And now we talked about those cubes there from Risk. Well, you can get 1,000 cubes. No, these are actually plastic cubes. And the cubes can come in different sizes, a certain number of millimeters, 1, 2, 3, etc. I've got a lot more in the in the man cave, different sizes. Let's see here. Yeah, like here. See, those look like bamboo. They're actually foam. These are actually soft, squishable. So these are very light. They're not wooden weight. They're foam. Faux wood. What else did I have in here? Okay, so specialized pawns. These are teddy bears with a backpack. So you can, especially for they call them counters. It's just now when we think of counters as being where was that hex encounter counter? I don't know where. I have no idea where I put it. Things are going hither thither here. But yes, this is actually aids in learning how to count. How many green bears are there? How many whatever So there's different aspects that way. All right. So okay, that's just dice. You always need lots of dice. All right. So we're getting close to the end here. There's just a few more things I wanted to dig into. So we were looking at, I said army men, but there's, like a medieval soldiers type. But you can get your, these are like German infantry. You got various tanks or half-tracks, some trucks, some various soldiers of different nationalities here. This is just stuff that I've got like many dice with different symbols on them, you know, like for different nationalities, for, you know, those that involve in World War I, World War II, if you want, you know, dice with flags or symbols on them. You know, you can get yourself meeple dice, you know, they're normal dice, but now the thing is, these dice with symbols on them, sometimes they replace the 6, sometimes they replace the 1. I like it when the symbol replaces the 1, okay, because there's one symbol, it'd be the 1. Some people like it on the 6, like, oh, I roll big, I roll special, it means something special, but I just like it. One symbol means the 1. Sharks. So, let's see. Now, various tokens. These are ones with, you know, like ancients art on them. You got Assyrians, and or is that the Hittites? I can't remember. And the Egyptians, and you've got Celts and Babylonians, and I don't remember that symbol or not. Is it a cobra head, or I don't know. A giant angry carnivorous platypus. No. Yeah, so a lot of these symbols I can't remember, but they're various historical biblical era. You know, some of these are markers for, like, I think this was World War I era symbols, Ottoman Empire, and the Americans and the Germans and Austrians, etc. So I collect tons of those things. You know, for making games, and I often play around and goof around. Sometimes I have designs in various stages, and sometimes I'm just, you know, just playing, goofing around. Now let's see here. I'm almost done here. Almost. We're at just past 25 minutes. More of these strange goodies. These, for the life of me, I can't tell exactly what they are. They look like little blank-faced teddy bears with ponytails. I don't know. This is more of those demon pet things. We've got like some kind of priests or monks. You got Buddha symbols, you know, more typical, you know, Christian friar or monk. These are like city markers, different colors, more coins, more coins, more coins. These are like wall, you know, garrison pieces, like, you know, if you're fortifying an area and you put up a section of wall on it. These are like barricades, like stockades. Looks more like, you know, sort of woven wicker, but that could be like a, you know, a barrier for the archers that they're standing behind and shooting over or whatnot. And, these are metal coins and ingots and stones. Yeah, I don't know if you can see those. There's like stones, coal, you know, bronze and gold bars, Chinese style coins with the square hole in the middle, things like that. Okay, so I'm not gonna put all those away right now. I'm coming down to the very end here. The last bit I want to show here. Like I said, I mentioned, I showed that this is an unopened one. So this is, you know, bought these. It was cheap at the time. The price was a discount and like a clearance sale. And I'm like, oh, I can use these for blank white dice. Now you can also buy out there game design kits. I've got a couple of different ones over the year. I've, you know, supported some Kickstarters. This was, I don't know if they did I didn't get it through the Kickstarter. I just bought it online. But we can look at and see what it says there. Wooden pieces, dice, punch board tokens. See, there's some punch boards, standard cards, mini square cards, stickers, and endless possibilities. So I don't know if something like this is going to be similar to this here. I mean, I know that the sponsor of the Mystery Game Jam, she did indeed knows about these because she was giving one away on her YouTube channel. So she has used this and knows about this product. So this may have been what inspired her to come up with an idea of she put together a collection herself of things on Game Crafter, which we will find out what's in it just about a week from now. So that is now coming to the conclusion here of our meandering segment of game design supplies, aspects of addiction. And as I've said, this is tip of the iceberg in terms of, like I said, I've got more war game oriented maps and blank counter sheets, terrain overlays. I've got different kinds of more and more dice, more and more different cubes. I even have 2 different sizes of those teddy bear things. Yeah, you name it. I've got umpteen bazillion things that I've been collecting. It is an aspect of my obsessive acquisition disorder. But these are fun too, right? It's like I've got all these things to play with. I have, quote unquote, played with them, and I'm using them for game design purposes. And we will see what we come up with. Now, again, my goal is to try to mostly just use the components that are in this, but I have all this wealth of stuff to help support that. And whether I'm crafting, modifying these things, cutting them, splitting them, gluing them, combining them somehow, mixing them with other components or not. But my goal will be to try to keep it focused on the components found here in the mystery box of components. Now, I do plan on probably maybe doing a live stream or 2 on that Saturday, while I'm doing my my thinking and my game designing. I'll maybe do a couple of maybe 15-minute, half an hour live streams or something to share with you part of the process. Now, I will be unboxing this as part of the Game Jam on their Discord server. Everyone opens theirs up live to say that, yeah, everyone's, opening it fresh. But then I might, go back on my channel and do the thing. Here's the simple, here are the things that I have to work with, and, what are my initial thoughts, and then, check in every so often or something. So if you're interested in that, that's coming up on October 4th. So thank you for, this is over half an hour, but for those of you that like to see the Meandering Mike method of acquiring and collecting things, this is a pencil sharpener. Gotta keep your regular graphite pencils or your colored pencils sharp. So this is a look into the addictive mind, the obsessive acquisition disorder, the things that I collect, the things that I play with, the stuff that I love, comparative game design and playing around with game design. And, again, I'm not a professional. I'm retired. I did do some game design work back in the 90s. Well, actually, I started in the 70s at an amateur scale. I was actually technically a professional in the 80s because I created 2 play-by-mail games, snail mail, U.S. mail, not email, wasn't a thing yet, that, actually, charged people for. So technically I was getting, quote unquote, paid, and therefore I was an actual professional, but I'm not a professional game designer in that sense. I have bucket list items that certain publishers want to do, but it's not a job. It's not, it's for fun. And, we're working on a number of designs, and none of them have, come to fruition yet, but we're having fun doing it. So Meandering Mike, man cave of madness. And as I say, take care of your games and they'll take care of you, but take care of all your things that you use to be creative. Because creativity and expression thereof is a way to help take care of yourself. Having an outlet for creativity. So, ciao y'all. Take care.